The champagne flute shattered against the hardwood floor of the banquet hall, shards scattering like the fragments of Caleb's carefully rebuilt life. His mother's voice, usually a melody of southern drawl and forced cheer, cracked like thunder over the stunned crowd. "We love you." But this ends tonight. And in that frozen heartbeat, as Alex's hand tightened around his, Caleb realized the anniversary toast wasn't a celebration of 40 years of marriage, it was the execution of the family he'd fought so hard to reclaim. Caleb had always known his parents' love came with strings attached. Invisible tripwires stretched across the manicured lawns of their suburban Nashville dream. But he'd spent years yanking at those strings, believing that if he just pulled hard enough, they'd snap and reform into something unbreakable. At 28, with a steady job as a graphic designer in East Nashville's buzzing art scene, he'd convinced himself it was time. Time to bring Alex home. To weave him into the tapestry of barbecues and church potlucks that had defined his childhood. Time to prove that love, real, bone-deep love, could bridge the chasm his coming out had carved 5 years earlier. It started innocently enough. Or at least that's how Caleb replayed it in the quiet hours before dawn. He'd met Alex at a rooftop party in the Gulch. The kind of Nashville night where the air hummed with pedal steel guitar and the faint twang of hope. Caleb was nursing a whiskey sour, sketching idly on a napkin, the skyline's jagged teeth against a bruised purple sky, when Alex slid onto the stool beside him, all easy grin and forearms dusted with faint freckles from too many summers on the water. "You drawing the apocalypse, or just the view?" Alex had asked, his voice carrying that effortless Midwestern lilt. Like he'd grown up on cornfields and college football Saturdays in Ohio before chasing music dreams south. Caleb glanced up, caught off guard by the spark in those green eyes. The way Alex's dark blonde hair caught the string lights like it was made for them. "Bit of both," he'd replied, flipping the napkin over. "Wanna add to it?" They'd laugh then, trading stories until the party thinned to echoes. Alex was a session musician, fingers calloused from banjo strings and bass lines, crashing on friends' couches while auditioning for gigs that paid in exposure and empty promises. With his freelance stability and a one-bedroom apartment overlooking the Cumberland, felt like the anchor Alex didn't know he needed. Or maybe it was the other way around. Caleb, who'd spent years dating ghosts of exes who bolted at the first sign of his family's frost, finally found someone who stayed. Their first real date was at the Parthenon, that absurd full-scale replica in Centennial Park, where Athena's golden statue loomed like a promise of myths made real. They wandered the exhibits hand in hand, Alex cracking jokes about how the Greeks would faint at the sight of two guys stealing kisses by the friezes. "History's got nothing on us," he'd murmured, pulling Caleb close under the shadow of a marble column, his breath warm against Caleb's ear. By summer's end, they were inseparable. Weekends hiking the Smokies, where the air tasted like pine and possibility, Alex strumming folk tunes on a beat-up guitar while Caleb sketched their silhouettes against misty ridges. Evenings tangled in sheets that smelled of Alex's cedar cologne and takeout Thai. Caleb's heart, scarred from the night his father had hurled Bible verses like grenades after finding that faded pride flag in his duffel, began to mend. Alex didn't fix it, he just held the pieces steady, whispering, "You're enough. Just you." But the anniversary loomed like a storm cloud over August haze. 40 years for Ellen and Harlan Whitaker, marked with a black tie affair at the Hermitage Hotel's Grand Ballroom. Invitations had arrived in crisp cream envelopes, The kind with embossed gold script that screamed old money and older expectations. Caleb's name was there. Alone. No plus one. His sister Mia, ever the peacemaker, had called from her Atlanta law firm, "Mom's asking about you. Says it's been too long. Bring someone if you want, just keep it." Low key. Low key. The word had lodged in Caleb's throat like a fishbone. For years, low key had meant holidays without Alex, excuses about work trips that left him hollow. But this was different. This was a milestone. A chance to show them the man who'd turned his world from grayscale to vivid. "I'm bringing him," he told Alex over coffee that morning. Palms slick with nerves. Or nothing. Alex had leaned across the Formica table at their favorite dive, cupping Caleb's face with hands that still smelled of guitar rosin. "Then we're all in. But if it goes south, we walk." Together. The drive to the hotel was a blur of I-40 traffic and classic rock on the radio, Springsteen crooning about highways and heartaches, fitting like a too-tight collar. Caleb adjusted his tie in the rear view. The navy silk one Alex had picked out. Whispering, "You look like you could conquer Nashville. Or at least this ballroom." Alex, in a charcoal suit that hugged his lean frame, shot him a wink that eased the knot in Caleb's chest. For a moment, they were just two guys in love, rolling toward whatever came next. The Hermitage was a vision of antebellum glamour. Chandeliers dripping crystal like frozen rain. Waiters gliding with trays of shrimp étouffée and mint juleps. Guests milled in clusters, Harlan's golf buddies with their booming laughs. Ellen's garden club ladies in pastel sheets. All under the watchful eye of a string quartet sawing at Vivaldi. Caleb spotted his parents across the room, Ellen, elegant in sapphire silk, her silver-streaked bob impeccable, Harlan, broad-shouldered in a tux that strained at the seams, nursing a scotch with the grip of a man who'd built a construction empire on unyielding foundations. They approached like supplicants at court. "Dad, this is Alex," Caleb said, voice steady despite the tremor in his knees. Alex extended a hand, firm and warm. "Pleasure to meet you, Mr. and Mrs. Whitaker. Congrats on 40 years, that's the kind of love song I'd kill to play." Ellen smiled, thin and polite, her eyes flicking from Alex's face to Caleb's like she was cataloging discrepancies. "Thank you, dude. Harlan, isn't it wonderful Caleb found someone?" "Steady," Harlan grunted, shaking Alex's hand with a grip that bordered on warning, muttering something about good Tennessee stock. Mia swooped in then, her husband Todd in tow, diffusing with hugs and chatter about the kids back home. But Caleb felt the undercurrent, the way conversations dipped when Alex's arm brushed his, the sidelong glances from aunts who'd once pinched his cheeks and slipped him candy. Dinner was a minefield of small talk. Seated at a table with distant cousins, Caleb pushed peas around his plate while Alex charmed with stories of touring with a bluegrass band upstate. "Ever play the Grand Ole Opry?" one uncle asked. And Alex's laugh lit the room. "Not yet. But Cal, here's my good luck charm." Under the table, their knees knocked, a secret Morse code of solidarity. Caleb stole glances at his parents' table, where Harlan's brow furrowed deeper with each course, Ellen's laughter ringing a touch too high. As dessert wheeled out, towering tiers of red velvet and pralines, the MC called for toasts. Glasses clinked. Voices rose in a symphony of nostalgia. Harlan's old foreman on the boss man's grit, Mia on The Parents Who Taught Us Grace. Caleb's turn came midway, heart hammering as he stood, Alex's fingers grazing his thigh in silent cue. He cleared his throat, microphone heavy in his palm. Dad, 40 years isn't just time. It's the foundation you built, the one that holds us all up, even when we stumble. You've shown me what commitment looks like, what fighting for love means. And Alex, he's shown me how to live it. Turned, eyes locking on those greens that grounded him. To you too, and us. May we all find our way home. Applause rippled, warm but fleeting. Alex squeezed his hand as he sat, whispering, "Nailed it, babe." But the air had shifted, thickened like humidity before a squall. When Harlan rose for his toast, the room hushed. He looked every inch the patriarch, glass raised high, Ellen at his side with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Folks," Harlan began, voice booming off the vaulted ceilings. "Ellen and I stand here grateful. Grateful for this life, these people, the God who's guided us through valleys and peaks, pauses for nods, amens from the pious corners. We've raised two fine children, Mia, with her family and faith, Caleb, a boy who's found his path, the beat, heavy as lead. But paths diverge, and sometimes, love means letting go." Caleb's stomach plummeted. Alex tensed beside him, fork midway to his mouth. "Tonight, on our anniversary," Harlan continued, Ellen's hand trembling on his arm, "we celebrate not just us, but the values that got us here. Family, tradition, the truth of Scripture." His gaze pinned Caleb like a specimen under glass. "Son, we prayed, we hoped. But bringing this choice into our home, it's a line we can't cross. Effective tonight, you're no longer welcome under our roof. We're disowning you, Caleb. For your soul's sake, and ours." The words landed like a gut punch, sucking air from the room. Gasps rippled, sharp from Mia, horrified from cousins, while waiters froze mid-stride. Caleb's vision tunneled, the chandelier light fracturing into stars. Alex's chair scraped back, his arm a steel band around Caleb's waist. But it was too late. The toast glasses lifted in a grotesque cheer, some out of shock, others from unspoken agreement. Ellen's eyes met his, wet but resolute, mouthing, "I'm sorry," like it could staunch the bleed. He bolted then, napkin crumpling to the floor, Alex hot on his heels through the crush of bodies. Wait. But Caleb didn't stop until the marble lobby swallowed him. Chest heaving, the world reduced to the roar in his ears. Betrayal wasn't the disownment, it was the applause that followed. The way his blood turned on him in that single, shattering clink. They spilled into the Nashville night, the Hermitage's porte-cochere glowing like a false beacon behind them. Caleb's loafers slapped wet pavement. Had it rained? As he veered toward the valet stand, fumbling for the ticket stub in his pocket. Alex caught him there, hands framing his face, thumbs swiping at tears Caleb hadn't realized were falling. Hey, breathe with me. Okay? We're out. We're safe. The word mocked him, hollow as the echo of his father's voice. Caleb wrenched free, pacing the curb where cabs idled like yellow predators. Safe? They erased me. 40 years of birthdays. Christmas. I love yous. Like I was never their son. His voice cracked, raw and ragged, drawing stares from a cluster of late-night revelers spilling from the oak bar. Alex stepped closer, his suit jacket shed and draped over Caleb's shoulders against the chill. They didn't erase you. They showed who they are, scared. Small people clinging to fairy tales. But you're the one who showed up brave. With me. That's real. He pulled Caleb into a hug, fierce and unyielding, chin resting on his crown. We'll build our own family. Starting now. Mia found them there. Heels clicking like accusations. Todd trailing with apologetic shrugs. I'm so sorry. I had no idea they'd. She trailed off, eyes red-rimmed, glancing back at the hotel's gilded doors as if Harlan might charge out with a retraction. Mom's a mess inside. Dad too. In his way. He thinks he's saving you. Saving me? Caleb barked a laugh. Bitter as black coffee. From what? Happiness? From loving someone who sees me? He jabbed a finger toward the ballroom's distant murmur. Tell them congrats on the vow renewal. They renewed their bigotry instead. Mia's face crumpled. But she didn't retreat. You're my brother. That doesn't change. Come back in, let's talk it out. For old time's sake. Alex stiffened, his grip tightening protectively. With all due respect, Mia, that's not how this works. You don't talk out disownment like it's a parking ticket. His tone was even, but the steel beneath it brooked no argument, the musician who fronted bands through bar fights and bad crowds. Caleb shook his head, summoning the cab with a wild wave. Go back to the party, sis. Pretend it's still perfect. The door slammed on her protests, the cab peeling into traffic with Alex's hand laced through his, knuckles white. They rode in silence to East Nashville, the city lights blurring into streaks of neon regret. Caleb pressed his forehead to the cool glass, replaying the toast in loops, Harlan's steady gaze, Ellen's whispered apology, the clink that sealed his exile. Back in the apartment, the space felt too small, walls closing like a vice. Alex flicked on the lamp by the couch, the one with the fringed shade they'd scavenged from a yard sale in 12 South, casting pools of amber over the chaos of their life, sheet music strewn on the coffee table, Caleb's sketchpads piled like fallen soldiers, a half-dead ficus they'd vowed to revive. Beer, Alex offered, raiding the fridge. Whiskey, Caleb muttered, sinking into the cushions. The burn of it steadied him, fire chasing the ice in his veins. Alex settled beside him, legs tangled, passing the bottle back and forth until the edges softened. Remember that night in the Smokies? Alex said softly, tracing the vein on Caleb's wrist. You told me about the first time you knew, the summer fair, kissing that boy behind the Ferris wheel. How it felt like flying, then crashing. Caleb nodded, throat tight. And you said it was the same for you? At that Ohio bonfire? With the quarterback who ghosted you senior year. He leaned into Alex's shoulder, inhaling that familiar cedar. I thought bringing you there would make it real for them. See, this is my flying. It is real, Alex murmured, lips brushing his temple. And if they can't see it, that's their crash. Not ours. Their kiss started tentative. A balm for the bruise. Then deepened, hands roaming. Shirts discarded in a heap that spoke of defiance. In the dim glow, bodies moving with the rhythm of a slow blues riff, Caleb found anchor. Not absolution, but absolution's echo. Dawn crept in gray and unforgiving, coffee brewing like penance. Caleb's phone buzzed relentlessly, Mia's texts, "Please call." They're devastated. Then Harlan's number. Voicemails he deleted unheard. Work emails piled up too. A client deadline mocking his unraveling. Alex? Ever the pragmatist? Brewed eggs and toast? Plating it with a flourish. Fuel for the fight? Whitaker. What's the plan? The plan. Caleb stared at his reflection in the window, hollow-cheeked, eyes shadowed like a stranger's. Fit? Or flee? He'd built a life here. Threads of freelance gigs and gallery shows. Friends who'd toasted his pride floats with rainbow shots. But family was the root. Twisted now. Poisoning the soil. I don't know, he admitted. Fork scraping china. Call Mia? Demand answers? Or just cut the cord? Alex reached across, squeezing his knee. Whatever it is, I'm in. But don't let them define your worth. You're the guy who sketches dreams into reality. Draw us out of this. By noon. Resolve hardened. Caleb texted Mia, "Coffee." Printer's Alley. The alley was a warren of speakeasies and secrets. Brick walls etched with jazz ghosts, perfect for unearthing truths. She arrived flustered, power suit rumpled, clutching a lot like a shield. You came, she breathed, sliding into the booth. Curiosity, Caleb said flatly, though his heart twisted at her pallor. Or masochism. What? Mia? Why now? She stirred sugar into oblivion, avoiding his eyes. Dad's sick. Process. Stage 2, they caught it late. Docs say it's treatable, but it scared him straight into the pulpit. Announcement hit like a trigger. He sees it as his failure. Some curse on the family legacy. Her voice wobbled. Mom's torn, loves you fierce, but faith's her anchor. The church elders have been whispering. And with the anniversary. It was their line in the sand. Caleb's gut roiled. Offensive. The word alone conjured Dad's frame shrinking. Ellen's hands ringing rosaries. Betrayal layered anew, not just rejection, but illness weaponized as judgment. And you? You're okay with this? Mia's eyes flashed. Hell no. But I'm navigating minefields too, partners at the firm side-eye my family drama. Todd's folks are cut from the same cloth. I thought if I mediated. She trailed off. Defeated. I failed you. The admission cracked something in him. Grief spilling free. We're all failing, he said. But Alex, he's the one thing that doesn't. As if summoned. His phone lit with a text, gig tonight at the Bluebird. Come blow off steam? Love you. They parted with a hug that lingered. Mia promising to work on them, though doubt shadowed her words. Caleb wandered the alley's murals, vibrant murals of Johnny Cash and June. Eternal in their harmony, searching for his own duet. By evening, the Bluebird Cafe hummed with intimate magic. Fairy lights strung over wooden stools. The air thick with anticipation. Alex took the stage, banjo in hand, crooning an original about lost highways and found grace. Caleb watched from the shadows, heart swelling at the line, you pulled me from the wreckage. darling, with a touch like Tennessee rain. In the green room's clutter of cables and cold pizza, fans clamored for pics. Caleb hung back, but Alex drew him forward, arms slung casual. "This is my muse. Folks, kill." Whispers followed, but so did nods, a barista slipping him a free pour. On stage, love felt invincible, a spotlight on their truth. But invincibility cracked 2 nights later. Caleb's inbox held an email from Harlan's lawyer, formal. Frigid, inheritance and estate matters. In light of recent events, revisions to your beneficiary status are pending. Contact for details. The betrayal deepened. Not just emotional but financial. A severing of the nest egg meant for his future, the one they'd imagined with a wife and 2.4 kids. Rage boiled over dinner, Caleb slamming his fork. They think money buys silence? Or loyalty? Alex listened, then pulled him to the balcony overlooking the river. City lights dancing on black water. Lechinghevizi. We'll write our own will, hearts first. Under the stars. They made promises, a lease in their names, a joint account seeded with Caleb's savings, dreams of a cabin in the hills where family meant chosen, not given. Yet doubt gnawed. Sleepless, Caleb scrolled old photos, Thanksgivings with Harlan carving turkey, Ellen's pecan pie cooling on sills. The disownment wasn't a door slam, it was a slow bleed. Memories tainted. Alex woke to his vigil, curling around him like a shield. We're the high road. They can keep the low. Weeks blurred into autumn's gold rush. Leaves carpeting Shelby Park in crimson drifts. Caleb threw himself into work, a mural commission for a local LGBTQ center. Bold strokes of intertwined figures against Nashville's skyline. Alex booked a festival slot, their first couple's milestone. But the call came mid-brushstroke, Ellen. Voice frail over the line. Caleb, can we talk? Just us. Please. He met her at a neutral ground, a quiet cafe in Green Hills. Away from church eyes. She looked diminished. Cardigan swallowing her frame. Hands twisting a napkin into knots. I didn't know about the email, she started. Eyes downcast. Harlan acts alone sometimes. Thinks it's protection. But it's wrong. You're my boy. Tears prick. Old wounds reopening. Then why the toast? Why the crowd? Fear, she whispered. Of losing you forever to what we don't understand. The pastor says it's sin. But my heart. She reached for his hand. Tentative. I see how he looks at you. Like you're his world. Caleb's resolve wavered. The humanistic pull of blood warring with self-preservation. It's not just looks. It's life. Our life. They talked for hours, halting confessions of her own hidden doubts. Harlan's chemo fogging his judgments. No promises. But a seed, come see Dad. Off the record. The visit was a minefield. Harlan gaunt in his recliner. Bible open but unread. Grunts passed for words. Eyes averted. But when Caleb mentioned the mural, painting stories like yours, but truer, a flicker crossed his face. Not forgiveness, but fracture. Enough to plant hope. Climax brewed at Thanksgiving. Mia's olive branch, a small gathering. Neutral zone, at her in-laws' farm outside Franklin. Alex agreed. Wary but willing. The drive wound through rolling hills. Tension thick as fog. Inside, the table groaned with turkey and fixings. But undercurrents simmered, Harlan's silence, Ellen's forced smiles, Todd's awkward jokes. Then it erupted. Over pie. Harlan cornered Caleb in the den. This boy's a phase. Son. Come home proper. And we forget the will. The ultimatum hung. Venomous. Caleb's blood roared. He's not a phase. He's my future. And if that's not enough, keep your money, I've got my own. Alex burst in. Overhearing. Face thunderous. You don't get to bargain for his heart. That's not love, that's control. Harlan swelled. Red-faced, out of my house. Both of you. The betrayal peaked. Mia frozen. Ellen weeping, as Caleb grabbed Alex's hand. We're done bargaining. They stormed out into the crisp night. Truck tires spinning gravel. In the cab, sobs racked Caleb. But Alex's voice cut through, proud of you. That's the man I fell for. Healing unfurled slow. Humanistic in its mess. Christmas brought Mia's visit. Gifts and guarded talks. Harlan's card arriving and signed but present. Spring saw Ellen at Caleb's gallery opening. Whispering beautiful at the mural's embrace. No grand reunion. But bridges mended stitch by stitch. By summer, Caleb and Alex stood on their hilltop deck, cabin bought with grit and gigs, the Cumberland Valley sprawling below. To us, Alex toasted with craft beer. Sunset gilding his grin. Caleb clinked. Heartful. To chosen homes. Disownment had scarred. But scars told stories of betrayal's bite. Love's bomb. The American grit to rebuild. And in their gaze, endless as the river, Caleb found his forever. The war wasn't fought with fists or filings, but in the quiet sieges of the soul. Harlan's text was the opening salvo. A crude attempt to isolate, but it backfired spectacularly. Caleb forwarded it to Mia, your dad's new low, and blocked the number, vowing silence until Harlan faced the mirror of his malice. Alex, for his part, channeled the hurt into music, penning a haunting ballad called Exiles Road that debuted at a packed house at the Basement East. The crowd, a tapestry of Nashville's queer underbelly, tattooed bartenders, drag queens in full regalia, allies with rainbow pins, roared approval, turning pain into power. Caleb watched from the front row, sketchpad forgotten in his lap, as Alex's voice cracked on the bridge. You built these walls to keep me small / but love's the hammer. Watching fall. Tears streamed, unashamed, mingling with the sweat of bodies swaying in unity. Backstage, they collapsed into each other. The green room a sanctuary of shared breaths and whispered, I got yous. That night, intimacy was reclamation, slow, sacred, bodies mapping forgiveness where words failed. But betrayal's shadow lengthened. A week later, Ellen called, voice quavering, Harlan's worse. Chemo's hitting hard, nights he can't sleep. Raging about the devil's work in you. Caleb's resolve frayed, duty warred with dignity. Is this a plea? Or another ultimatum? Just visit. For me, her plea tugged. Maternal magnetism undimmed. Against Alex's cautions, don't let them reel you in half-healed. Caleb went, alone, to the family home in Brentwood's gated enclave. The house loomed unchanged, white columns, azaleas blooming defiant, The porch swing where Harlan once taught him to bait hooks. Inside, the air was sterile, laced with hospital ghosts. Harlan lay propped in the den, skin sallow, eyes sunken but sharp. Ellen hovered, tea tray rattling. No greetings, just Harlan's rasp. Knew you'd come crawling. Miss the money yet? Caleb's jaw locked. Miss the manipulation? But I miss Dad, the one who built forts in the backyard. Not walls around his heart. He sat, uninvited, pulling a chair close. Cancer doesn't give you a pass on bigotry. It just makes it lonelier. Harlan's laugh wheezed. Bitter. Bible's clear. Man with man, abomination. I'm saving your soul while I can. The word stung. But Caleb leaned in. Voice steady. Your Bible also says love your neighbor. Alex, is that my neighbor? My partner. If God's love is conditional, maybe you're the one lost. Harlan turned away. But not before Caleb saw the crack, a tear tracking down his cheek. Swallowed in silence. Ellen walked him out, clutching his arm. He's terrified of death, of you slipping away. The church says pray it out, but I see your light. Caleb. Don't give up on us. Driving back. Turmoil churned. Alex waited with takeout foe, sensing the storm. What did he say? Everything and nothing. Caleb unloaded, pacing the living room, gestures wild. It's like he's drowning in his own hate, pulling everyone under. Alex listened, then drew him down, massage turning to murmurs. You're not the lifeguard for his mess. But if you want to try, I'm your vest. The try came piecemeal. Caleb sent books, Pride and Prejudice twisted with queer retellings. Memoirs of gay Southern sons, but they went unread. Returned with notes in Ellen's looping script. Harlan says no. Mia mediated. Smuggling updates. He's asking about your art? Indirectly. Small victories. But the real conflict brewed internal. In Caleb's dreams haunted by the toast's echo. Waking sweat-soaked beside Alex's warmth. Climax crested in December's frost. Mia's Christmas plea, family photo, last one before Dad's next round. Bring Alex. Neutral ground, the old farm. Temptation gnawed, reweaving the frayed threads. Alex relented, eyes wary. One shot. But at the first wrong word. The farm was a time capsule, red barns sagging under ivy, fields dusted white, the scent of wood smoke and pine. Guests arrived tentative, Mia and Todd. A few cousins who'd skipped the anniversary fallout. Harlan arrived last. Cane thumping. Bundled in flannel. Ellen steering him like a ship through ice. Polite nods masked the minefield. Dinner passed in strained chatter, weather, football, the kids' school plays, until Harlan's scotch loosened his tongue. Over eggnog by the fire, he fixed Caleb with a bleary stare. Heard your boy's song on the radio. Exiles Road, cute. But life's no ballad. Dump him, come home, and the will's yours. Clean slate, the room iced over. Alex, across the hearth, set his mug down with deliberate calm. Sir, with respect, that's not a slate. That's a ledger, tallying love like debt. His voice, usually velvet, at steel. Caleb's not for sale. Neither am I. Harlan lurched up, face mottled. Insolent pup, This is family business. Family? Caleb surged to his feet. Voice thunder. Family doesn't disown over dinner toasts. Doesn't text poison to break spirits. Doesn't dangle inheritance like bait for bigotry. The words poured. Damn, too long. I loved you blind. Dad, through sermons and silences. But this is the end of pretending. Ellen gasped. Hand to mouth. Mia froze. Fork midway. Harlan swayed. Eyes bulging. You ungrateful, after all we've... Alex stepped between. Hand on Caleb's shoulder. We're leaving. Merry Christmas. But Harlan's swing came wild, cane cracking against the mantel. A vase shattering in explosive shards. Get out. Both of you, devils in my house. Chaos erupted, Todd pulling Harlan back. Mia hurting cousins. Ellen sobbing, stop. Caleb stumbled out. Glass crunching underfoot. Alex shielding him from the fray. In the truck. Engine roaring to life. The betrayal crystallized, not Harlan's rage. But the fracture it revealed, a father so entrenched, he'd shatter his legacy to preserve his lies. They drove through snow-slick roads. Nashville's lights a distant blur. Caleb shattered too. Sobs racking as Alex navigated blindly. Pull over, he gasped. And they did, truck idling on a shoulder. World white and whispering. I can't. It's all broken. Alex killed the engine, pulling him across the console into an awkward, desperate hold. Broken things get glued. Kintsugi, Japanese art. Gold in the cracks. Makes him stronger. His lips found Caleb's temple. Salt and stubble. You're my gold. Cut. Every scar. They stayed there till dawn pinked the horizon. Talking truths in the cab's cocoon, dreams deferred, a wedding postponed for healing. A road trip west to Joshua Tree for reset. No quick fixes, but a map sketched in whispers. Back home, the apartment bloomed with resilience, a joint therapy session booked. Alex's festival offer accepted as their victory lap. Mia called days later. Voice hushed, Dad collapsed after. Docs say stress exacerbated it. Tis. Reflecting. In his way, reflection came halting. A letter arrived. Harlan's scrawl shaky, son, chemo clears the head sometimes. Saw your mural online. Strong lines. Like you. No, we'll talk. Coffee? Ush. No apology, but an olive branch. Brittle. Caleb showed Alex, who nodded slow. Your call. But whatever. We're solid. The coffee was at a diner off Murfreesboro Pike. Neutral. Nail it. Pies steaming under glass. Harlan arrived early. Thinner. Eyes clear. They sat in vinyl booth silence. Forks chasing hash browns. Missed this, Harlan grunted finally. Your sketches as a kid, always dreaming big. Caleb's throat bobbed. Still do. With Alex. A nod. Grudging. He's got grit. Saw the video. Good music. Not acceptance, but acknowledgement. A crack widened. Ellen joined later meetups, her warmth thawing the chill. By spring, family dinners emerged, small, at Caleb and Alex's, with Mia's kids giggling over board games. Harlan sat quiet, but present, passing the potatoes without sermons. The humanistic arc curved gentle, no fairy tale reunion, but a mosaic mended. Betrayal's sting faded to lesson, love's depth to foundation. At Pride that June, Harlan watched from the sidelines, uninvited. But there, as Caleb and Alex marched, hands linked, rainbows arcing overhead. In the after-party's thrum, Caleb pulled Alex close amid confetti and cheers. "We made it," Alex grinned, green eyes alight. "We did. And it's just the overture. Their story, American as apple pie and backroads, unfolded not in perfection, but persistence, the drama of hearts clashing, emotions ebbing, romance rooting deep. Disownment had announced an end, but in its echo, they toasted beginnings. Summer's heat wave baked Nashville into submission, the Cumberland sluggish under a relentless sun. Caleb and Alex's cabin retreat became sanctuary, the A-frame nestled in the Natchez Trace foothills, bought with a down payment scraped from Alex's festival payout and Caleb's mural residuals. Weekends there were ritual, mornings with coffee on the deck, watching deer ghost through ferns, afternoons sketching trails while Alex fished the creek, pulling bluegill with boyish whoops. Evenings, fireflies winking as they swayed on the porch swing, a thrift find shipped from Ohio, creaky with promise. It was there, one sticky July dusk, that Caleb proposed. Not with fanfare, but simplicity, a ring fashioned from twisted silver wire, etched with their initials, slipped onto Alex's finger over a picnic of cornbread and collards. "You're my home," Caleb said, voice husky with unsaid histories. Alex's yes was a kiss that tasted of forever, fireflies mirroring the spark in his eyes. News rippled gentle, no grand announcements, but Mia's squeal over FaceTime. Ellen's tentative, "When's the date?" Harlan's response came via postcard, a Trace landmark, scribbled proud. Dead. The word, sparse as sagebrush, bloomed in Caleb's chest. Wedding plans wove through fall's palette, a small affair at the cabin, under oaks draped in Spanish moss. Officiant a queer Unitarian minister from the city. Invites went to the chosen few, Mia's brood, Alex's Ohio kin, Nashville friends who'd held space through storms. Harlan and Ellen RSVP'd yes, a milestone marked with quiet awe. But conflict's embers glowed. 2 weeks out, Harlan called, voice gravel, "Need to talk." Alone, Caleb met him at the diner again, the same booth scarred by years. Harlan slid a folder across, estate papers, revise. Caleb reinstated. "Not for strings," he muttered. "For peace." Caleb's fingers trembled on the edge. "This isn't buy-off?" Harlan met his gaze, unflinching. "Was before. Dying makes a man reckon. Read Leviticus, then Matthew. Love trumps law." The pause. Waited. "Hurt you bad. Sorry don't fix it. But it'd start." Tears pricked Caleb's. Harlan's. "It does," he whispered. "Start's enough." The ceremony dawned crisp, November light gilding the hollow. Guests dotted hay bales, wildflowers in mason jars nodding in breeze. Alex waited at the arch, suit forest green, grin splitting his face. Caleb walked solo, Mia's arm linked, eyes only for that man who'd braved the toast's fallout. Vows exchanged rings of laughter and lumpen throat truths, Alex's, You taught me home's not place, but person, Caleb's, you mended what they broke. Gold in every crack. Harlan, seated front, stood for the toast, glass of sweet tea raised, voice steady, to Caleb and Alex. May your 40 years outshine ours. Winds, claps thundered, tears flowed. Ellen hugged them fierce, whispering, my boys. The reception spilled into hoedown, bluegrass fiddles, kids twirling, Harlan even tapping a toe to Alex's set. Night fell star-strewn. Guests departed in caravans of taillights. Alone on the deck, husbands entwined, Caleb traced Alex's ring. We did it. From disownment to this. Alex nuzzled his neck. From ashes, phoenixes. American dream. Queered up. Years unspooled like film reels. The cabin expanded with a studio for Caleb's commissions. A nook for Alex's recordings. Mia's visits became weekly, her firm sponsoring queer internships in Caleb's honor. Harlan softened further, chemo conquered. He joined a progressive men's group, mailing clippings of reformed bigot stories. Ellen baked pies for their anniversary, each layered with unspoken amends. Children came via surrogacy. 2 boys with Alex's freckles and Caleb's hazel gaze, named River and Oak. Roots in the land that healed them. Family barbecues blended old and new, Harlan teaching hooks by the creek. Ellen reading bedtime tales of brave princes. Betrayal's scar faded to silver thread, woven into the tapestry. Caleb's novel, Toast to Exile, hit shelves. A bestseller blending memoir and fiction. Proceeds funding youth shelters. Alex's album went platinum. Tracks of redemption anthems. At 50, gray threading their hair, they revisited the Hermitage, anniversary ghosts confronted. The ballroom echoed changed, no shattering flutes, just memories toasted with champagne. To the toast that freed us, Caleb said, clinking with Alex. To us, Alex echoed. Always, in the end, the story wasn't triumph or tragedy, but the humane in-between, love's labor, forgiveness's freight, the dramatic pulse of hearts daring to beat on. American as the open road, they drove into sunsets, hands clasped, unbroken.